The NFL draft is tomorrow. I know. It feels like the entire offseason has been leading to this very moment. Probably the most or second most important moment throughout the entire offseason. The only contender really is free agency, but it's here. It's tomorrow. Now, obviously, it's just the first round tomorrow, and the remaining rounds will come 2 days after, but we are finally here, and I figure why not do a quick little wrap up for the draft. Obviously, I'm going to be talking about the Chargers because that's what my previous videos are. Go check those out if you haven't already. They're very good episodes. I did a first round one, I did late round gems, and I also did a mock draft. Go ahead and check those out if you haven't already. But let's do a quick little wrap up. Now, we're not going to do another mock draft. There's no point in doing mock drafts. Tomorrow is the start of the draft. No one is really worrying about theoreticals. They just want to gather as much information as they can. That's what I'm here to do for you. So if this is your first time on the channel, my name is John. This is the Sports Advocate. Give me a like, dislike, criticism down below because I really do appreciate it a lot. And subscribe because every single one of you is noticed and appreciated. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and get right into this. Now, obviously, we all know how the NFL draft works. You have 7 total rounds. You have picks throughout, unless you're the Rams, you trade them all away. But, you're drafting from college players, sometimes from different countries like Australia. But, you're getting young talent brought to your team, and you're trying to reinvigorate some of this young talent and kind of help your cap space and find gems, people that will turn into Pro Bowl talent. That's the point of the draft. Everyone kind of understands that. So let's get into this. First things first, round 1, the Chargers have the pick 17 pick. I'm sure you've heard a million things about this. Who to get, why to get, how to get, yada yada, trade up, trade down. It's outrageous, and I'm so happy that tomorrow is finally the day. Honestly, I feel like the biggest, most enjoyable part of the draft is actually before the hype around it, the predictions for it. I feel like that's more enjoyable. Once it actually comes, you're just kind of like, oh, I guess that was anticlimactic most of the time, unless you get like Justin Herbert or something. Or I guess we got pretty lucky this past few years. Rashawn Slater fell to us. Herbert probably fell to us, arguably. Sometimes you get a little bit lucky, but most time it's pretty anticlimactic, especially in those late rounds. But pick 17, the lucky number where we got Derwin James a couple years back now. What should the Chargers do? Now, the biggest thing for a lot of people has been what tackle to get, what guard to get, because that's been a huge thing. You got Trevor Penning, you have Cross, who may fall. Now, if Cross falls, I think you still take him at this very moment. You have Zion Johnson. But yesterday, the Chargers signed Will Clapp, previously of the Saints, who is both a center and a guard, now listed on the roster, and is a huge, not only depth piece, but probably could be a starter for this team. He's very, very reliable and good, which is very good news. Takes a lot of stress off of drafting super early, and I think that's exactly kind of what the point of it was. I don't think, unless some crazy plummet of like Cross or something happens, the Chargers are going to take lineman round 1. So what are the other options now? Well, the biggest ones are cornerback, wide receiver, and D tackle. But theoretically, they may be doing this so that they can just take best player available. Now, with the amount of talent that there is, best player available could be in one of those positions, but maybe it's not. Maybe they take a position at linebacker or something like that. If someone falls, safety, who knows? If someone falls, you set yourself up for best player available by helping that line. But with that being said, I think that's kind of what the Chargers might be leaning into, but I think they could pretty much lean into best player available and also help at a position of need. So we're going to talk about position of need. Like I listed, the 3 are the most likely at the earlier rounds. So who are the best players at this position? Now, we've talked about this a lot, so we're not going to take a lot of time individually. Chris Olave, Jameson Williams, those are the 2 big wide receiver names. Now, we've seen a couple other come up. Cornerbacks, Stingley, obviously. Gardner's not going to fall. We don't even need to talk about Gardner. Booth a little bit. And there's been couple other names that have really popped up that have flown under the radar. McDuffel. I hope I said that right. He's kind of coming out of nowhere. I've seen him on mock drafts a lot lately going to the Chargers. And I think you could honestly probably trade back and still be able to get him or Booth in this scenario. But we're not going to be talking about trading back because that will happen tomorrow if it happens tomorrow. There's plenty of opportunity to do so. But if you want to talk about O-line, you still have Cross possibly falling. You have Penning. You have Zion Johnson. I think you could trade back and get Zion Johnson. And, that's not a bad deal if some of those other people that you want are gone. And lastly, cornerback. Oh, wait, no, I said cornerback. Who am I missing? Wide receiver, cornerback. Oh, defensive tackle. Jordan Davis, pretty much the only defensive tackle linked in the first round. Now, all of these guys I do hold to high regard. There's obviously some bias on each. I like Stingley the most out of these guys. Jordan Davis would be a huge improvement. Now, who do I think the Chargers will take? Well, that's kind of tough because you have to think about people dropping and a lot of different things. Now, in my first video, my first round, we talked about some percentages. Okay. We talked about who's falling the most consistently on some of these mock draft boards, and we just kind of use that as statistics because you're not going to be fully reliant on those when it comes draft day. But Jordan Davis only fell once or twice, I think, to pick 17. So if Jordan Davis comes to the team, very excited, but we're going to kind of push him out. We're not going to really talk about him much because how statistically unlikely it was, at least in my method of doing it. So Jordan Davis would be a huge improvement. The defensive line would be so much improved since last year. Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Jordan Davis, imagine that as your front three. That is scary news, and that goes along with these new people that you brought in, Sebastian Joseph-Day, Austin Johnson. This defensive line would be so much improved, but it's already been extremely improved without Jordan Davis. Okay, so our other options. I think Stingley and Williams will likely go. I've seen Williams climbing the boards a lot with some of his recent tapes of his healing and all that. So I think, I think Stingley's climbing the boards too. He had a previous injury too, and he's climbing. I think it's going to come down to either you take one of these O-line that are falling to you, like Zion Johnson or something like that, or you're taking Chris Olave or Booth or McDuffel. Who's my favorite out of these? Chris Olave. I think the cornerback position is very well off, and I think there's plenty of great talent in the cornerback position in the later rounds. I think what Chris Olave brings is a huge improvement over anything that the later rounds could bring. Now, I think with the defensive scheme, you can draft a late round 3, 4, 5 cornerback, and they can produce just as well as some of these top cornerbacks that would be remaining here because you could scheme fit them. Now, I think taking Chris Olave or waiting and taking, Calvin Austin the third or people like that, I don't think they're going to produce as good. So I think you take Chris Olave in that circumstance. If Chris Olave is there and you don't have anyone falling to you like Jordan Davis or Charles Cross or Williams, I think you take Chris Olave. You got speed. You got really good route running. He's got pretty decent hands. Huge speed for the J-bombs, Herbert bombs, H-bombs, whatever you like to refer to them as because they're referred to everything. I think you take Chris Olave round 1. But let's not waste any more time in round 1. That's tomorrow. Everyone's so excited. We've heard that a million times. Let's talk about the later rounds because not a lot of people are talking about that consistently. So, Chargers don't have round 2 pick. I think we all kind of know that. Now, if you trade back from 17 to 20, 24, 23, those are like the most likely places I saw traded to. And that's like the Saints. Actually, I think the Saints are 19. Saints, Packers, Cardinals, Steelers are 20. I've seen those a lot, and those are those picks. Maybe you go get a second-round pick if you end up trading back. That's possible. I think the Packers would trade up for a wide receiver. I think the Steelers would trade up for a quarterback. I think the Saints could trade up for literally anything at this point. O-line, D-line, wide receiver, cornerback, I don't know. So, there's plenty of options to possibly trade back. That's good news. And maybe you pick up a second-round pick. But nonetheless, the Chargers have a third-round pick. Number 79, who do you go with there? Well, now it all depends on your first round. Now, I think the Chargers will likely go with like Chris Olave. So we're going to go based on that. So we don't need a wide receiver here. Who there's some other positions need some other improvement. Now we got D tackle and cornerback left for the first round. And I think there's some pretty good talent here for that. There's some pretty good talent here. You have Kobe Bryant, who maybe is my favorite pick for the third round here. Cornerback out of Cincinnati, across from Sauce Gardner, Ahmad Gardner, however you like to refer to him as. Big fan of him. Now, there are obviously other options here. I do still have my notes here that you saw in the video with the late round gems, but I just don't think that anyone does as much as Kobe Bryant does in this circumstance. If Kobe Bryant's there, I think I'm taking Kobe Bryant. Now, he might not be there. You might end up going with a offensive lineman or just best available at this point, just because there's not a lot at this very moment that are really standing out to me. Now, I may be completely wrong on that. There are some running backs available right there. Florida running back could go round 3. I saw some reports of that. I wouldn't be upset. I don't know how happy I'd be. I'd rather go for running back in 4 or 5, but the Florida running back at round 3 would be, you can't be upset at that. Very, very good power back to help Austin Eckler out a ton. Now, if you can't get Kobe Bryant here, probably going lineman just to help your O-line a little bit, because they do still need help even with Will Clapp's addition. So you got Ed Ingram. He's a round 3 talent. And you got Abram Lucas, another round 3 talent. Both of those could be immediate starters. Both are great at passing, blocking, which is very good for Justin Herbert. If you didn't get a wide receiver right there, you could take Calvin Austin the third. He's pretty good at speed, a wide receiver. You don't take him in the first round if you don't take Olave. You could also take Kingsley Ngabere. No one fact checked that. I probably said that wrong. Again, that's an edge. You're not really looking for edge a whole lot right now because you have Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, but maybe if no one else is there, maybe take him. But I'm going to go with Kobe Bryant right here. Now, I will tell you, I have done some bouncing on who I do my mock drafts with, and Kobe Bryant seems to be all over the place. Now, on Pro Football Network, which is what I use for the most part, he was half the time there, half the time not there. On PFF, I think, he was around 4. So that's a little odd. And on the other one I used, I can't remember what the name of it was, he was super early round 3. So I'm just assuming he's going to go round 3. And I'm saying take Kobe Bryant round 3. So you got Chris Olave, Kobe Bryant. Now you're looking at your linemen on both sides of the ball as the most immediate improvement needed, and then some depth. So you're entering round 4. You have pick I have it on here. 123. I was right. Who do you go with now? Round 4, pick 123. Now you don't have a running back. That's also something that needs improvement. At this point, I think you go for that D-line, some improvement, or an O-line. I think those are both good options here. You have John Ridgeway. Very, very good defensive tackle. Very big guy. Helps a lot on that run defense. John Ridgeway is a pretty good option here. Here, I'm going to pick this back up. I don't want to be staring down. If you want a running back, you got Donovan Knight. He's not really a big power back, so I don't know if I go too much with that, but I think he's better than a round 4 talent. That's why I have him here. And you have Marquise Hayes, offensive guard. Again, pretty good at pass blocking. I'd say he's a little bit better at run blocking, though. So who do you go with here? We've won offense, we've won defense on both picks. If I have to pick, if everyone here is available, I'm taking John Ridgeway. I think that's a huge improvement to just further improve a defensive line that was a big struggle, and I don't want to see it again. So I'm taking John Ridgeway in round 4. If it's available, and I think that's what the Chargers should do, and I think Chargers will likely go with a lineman, offense or defense, in round 4. I think round 1 will be a cornerback or wide receiver, and I think round 3 will be the opposite of whatever round 1 was. So round 5, I'm not going to look at this thing because I know who I want round 5, and you can come at me all you want. I do not need another Chargers incident where they missed the playoffs. I'm just thinking about this hurts. I'm literally staring into an abyss right now. I don't need another number 1 offense and number 1 defense in the league and miss playoffs because the special team is so bad. So I'm taking Matt Ariza out of San Diego State University in round 5, and you can come at me. If you think he's a round 6 talent, if you don't think he's worth a round 5, I don't care. He's consistent, extremely consistent. He has multiple 80-plus yard punts. You can go in a 3 and out, and he will punt you for a freaking touchback and help that defense immensely. I'm taking Matt Ariza round 5. I think the Chargers should take Matt Ariza round 5. I don't think they will, but I hope they do. Nonetheless, some other options here in round 5. Pierre Strong Jr., big fan of him. The other SDSU, South Dakota State. Running back, I think he's kind of in the middle ground. He's not a power back. He's not a huge elusive back. I think he's in the middle, and he does a very, very good job at it, both. I really like him. I would love to see him alongside Austin Eckler. I'm still taking Ariza over him. Next up, at Ariza. Next up, Smoke Monday. I've seen him go around 6. Seen him go around 5. He would be huge. I'm not upset at Smoke Monday. I'm a big fan of Smoke Monday. He has been climbing boards like crazy, it seems. But he can play linebacker. He can play safety. He can play in the box. When I say linebacker, he can play cornerback. He does a good job in man and zone, it seems. He's just extremely versatile. He can go everywhere, which is exactly what Coach Staley wants on his team, on his defense. So I think Smoke Monday is a very good option. Still won't matter, Ariza. Next up, Chase Hines, offensive guard. You still need some guard additions added to this team, even with Will Clapp added. But I'm going to flip this paper. Next up, the last option in round 5, Obini Easy, offensive tackle. Again, plenty of good options here. You can really go with any of them. But boy, am I going to be upset if Matt Ariza's there and they don't take him. I might cry myself to sleep. I might. But there's plenty of good options. There's a lot of people in round 5 that I really like. Pierre Strong, really like. Matt Ariza, I've been preaching it to you this whole time. Big fan of him. I like Easy a lot too. Is that what? Yep, Obini Easy. Like him. I like him a lot. Smoke Monday. Huge fan of Smoke Monday. If he falls to me in the 6th, I am stealing him. If I can trade up to get him, I'm stealing him. That's a steal. But I got to take Matt Ariza. I cannot deal with this special teams being bad anymore. I need a punter. Next up, round 6. Multiple picks here. Now we're getting to the point where Chargers have multiple picks. A lot of stuff going on. Let's go back over everything. I know we went over a million times. We got a wide receiver, got a cornerback, got a defensive tackle, got a punter. You need some O-line. I know you got Will Clapp. I'm actually quite confident in this O-line, especially if you bring Ode Obushi back, which you really need to do. I'm quite confident in this line, but I think you have a chance to go with an O-line here round 6, round 7. Plenty of talent here when there's a lot of options. Now, I will say one that's been climbing the boards. I have him in round 7. He's definitely should be round 6 by this point because he's been climbing. Dylan Parham. Yes, another Parham. Offensive guard, Memphis. I think he has a ton of potential. Round 6 pick. I would be very happy with him in round 6. Extremely happy. Do I think he goes to the Chargers? Not really. But I think he would be a very good option round 6. I think round 6, one of the picks in round 6. By the way, round 6, you have 195 and 214. I think you need to take a lineman of some sort. Now, there are other options. You have Amari Barno. He's an edge. Taylor Munford, offensive guard. Justin Schaefer, offensive guard. If you don't have a speed wide receiver, you have Danny Gray. Honorable mentions, Max Mitchell, Vincent Gray, Luke Giodecki. Yes, I know I'm covering the same stuff I covered in my previous videos, but like I said, it's a roundup. And there's a lot more energy to this video and a lot more ranting. In this position, I think you should take a guard with one of these 2 picks in round 6. I don't know which one. There's good options here. One of these guys has to be available at one of these picks. I think you take Munford or Parham with one of these picks, if you can. I don't really have a preference on who Yeah, I think you probably could take Parham with the second pick in the 6th round. Munford you'd probably have to take with the first pick. Now the other person that I'm taking, that I would personally take, that I don't know if the Chargers would take, is Barno. I like Barno a lot. I think he can do a little bit of everything, which is exactly what Staley wants. He can drop back in coverage. He can do a little bit of everything. If it's my picks, I'm taking one of those two linemen, and I'm taking Barno. Now, do I think that's what they're going to do? No. I think round 6 is going to be an O-line player if they haven't already, which they might take a risk on somebody earlier and reach for somebody. And I think the other 6th round pick is going to be someone that none of us are expecting. That's what it's going to be. They're going to find some random person, some diamond in the rough, because they are so good at drafting random people that we just are like, who is this? I don't think most people knew who Austin Eckler was. Look at him. I don't think most people knew a whole lot about Kaiser White. I don't think most people expected him to go crazy. Drew Tranquil. Antonio Gates. Now, come on. That's a lot older. That's not even Tom Telesco. But nonetheless, this team always finds a way to find some really late round great talent. So I think the second 6th round pick will be a complete surprise to all of us. I think you have to go with a lineman here at this point, whether it's Giodecki, Parham, Munford, whomever you want. I think Barno's a great pick. I don't know if they'll go with Barno. I think Barno will end up in the late 5th round, if anything. Now, round 7, this is where you're really just going for potential special teams, depth, people that can play multiple positions. Round 7, Chargers have pick 236, 254, 255, and 260. A lot of options here. Dylan Parham could still be here. If you need a speed wide receiver, Bo Melton. If you want another speed wide receiver, even if you got Chris Olave, Bo Melton. You got 4 picks here. You could take a risk on somebody even if you don't really need them. Trey Berry, huge fan of this guy, tight end out of Boston College. I would love to see him get picked up, but I could definitely see him being a non-drafted player, like a undrafted player that gets picked up. Hopefully the Chargers do. I think he does a lot. He's 6'6", fits the role of Parham. Parham hopefully will come back from injury very well, but I would be very excited to see 2 6'6" tight ends who can both block decently well and catch balls very well. Imagine that. 2 6'6" tight ends just running straight down the middle of your field. That's pretty worrisome. And they got decent speed. Along with Chris Olave, if you have him out there. It's going to be worrisome. You're going to have a track meet, but not a speed track meet. It's going to be everything. You're going to have your shot putters on the offensive line. You're going to have your 100-yard dashers over there on the wide receiver with Chris Olave. You're going to have these probably hurdling guys over there at tight end. What else might they do if they don't hurdle? What's another thing? I don't know. There's a lot of options. You got Mike Williams. He's probably doing jumping of some sort. High jump, long jump. One of those two. You get a whole track meet, and it's not just sprinting like most people refer to a track meet on the football field as. Just keep that in mind. I like Trey Berry. Jalen Watson, cornerback here. You could take a risk on cornerback. I think you should take a risk on a cornerback in the 7th round or a safety that can play both. That's a really good option here. I can't expect what they're going to do with 4 7-round picks. I don't know. There's going to be some weird names that we're like, who? I thought he was going to go undrafted or something like that. Jeremiah Moon, linebacker. Nick Ford, offensive line. Gene DeLance, offensive line. A lot of options here. I hope Trey Berry goes round 7, and I hope they take a risk on a cornerback and another random offensive lineman. But I think round 7 is going to be up in the air. So I think that's the most likely turnout. And yes, I know this video was pretty much a repeat of multiple videos put together, but that was the point. It was a review. The draft starts tomorrow. Also, I had a really bad night last night, and I didn't want to make a video on Vegas. So I'm sorry. Vegas lost to Dallas. Second shootout back-to-back. And they probably missed playoffs because of it. I'm sad. Guys. I'm sorry. So I had to do something that I knew something about. I had to do a video that I knew a lot about, so I didn't have to do research before because I don't have energy for that. And the Bulls play tonight. And Vegas has another game tonight against the Blackhawks. Yeah, it's going to be a tough night if they both lose. Now, I don't think Vegas loses, but they could get knocked out of contention tonight. It might be a tough night. The Bulls might lose and be out of playoffs. Tough night for me on the way, possibly. Hopefully not. Possibly, though. But, draft is tomorrow, so I get something to look forward to. And I think it's something to be very excited about. So that's what I was. I was very excited about this video. Even though I've covered this information before, this video allowed me to rant instead of reading off a bunch of names. Because before I had to deliberately, specifically list off names, why they'd be good for the team, what they're good at, things like that, so you could gather information. But this video was just a review, what I think the Chargers should/will do, and just some rants on players I like. Who is my favorite pick if the Chargers do this draft? Let's run through it real quick. Chris Olave, round 1. Round 3 was Kobe Bryant. Round 4 was John Ridgway. Round 5 was Matt Ariza. Round 6 was, I don't know, an offensive line or Barno, and then a random second-round pick. Round 7 is going to be completely random. I can't read the Chargers' mind. Round 7 is going to be wacky as all heck, but I hope they take Trey Berry. Who is my favorite pick? Let's do this in parts because it's going to be hard. Who's my favorite pick overall? Matt Ariza. Because the special teams has needed help forever. Who is my favorite pick in the front half? So Kobe Bryant or Chris Olave. If this were to happen, Kobe Bryant is going to be close because where he's going to be picked in, what his talent is. But I think Chris Olave is going to be what I'm most excited for, just for the Justin Herbert long shots. The middle rounds, let's just do late. 4th and on is day 3. That's late round gems. Who's my favorite late round gem if the Chargers were to pick exactly who I listed? Matt Ariza, but I'm not going to list him. So we got John Ridgway. I'm a big fan of Trey Berry. You could take Smoke Monday. I like them all. I think John Ridgway probably there because I think he's worth a 3rd rounder or like early 4th, something like that. And I don't think he'll fall to us. So if they were to get him, I'd be very excited about that. But that's the video. That is the video. So if you tuned in all the way through, I appreciate that a lot. I know this video might have been a little boring because it's a mix of my other videos. But trust me, I got a lot in the way. So let me explain kind of my plans for this very moment. It's going to be a very quick plan. Just stick with me for 1 minute and I'll be done with this. I promise you. I really appreciate it. Tomorrow's video. How do I explain this? Tomorrow's video, if the Bulls lose, will be a reaction to the series. Series in review for the Bulls. If they don't lose, I don't know. I don't know what my video is. I'm kind of anticipating a Bulls loss, which is terrible to say. But it'll probably be a Bulls in review or something of that nature. Or how did the Bulls pull it off without Zach LaVine and Alex Caruso? It'll be one of those two. I think that it'll be one of those two. The next day after that, so Friday's video will be a reaction to round 1 of every pick from every team. And Saturday, I'm not going to do a draft video. I think I'd do Sunday as my draft video as a reaction to all the Chargers pick throughout the draft. Saturday would be a Vegas Golden Knights reaction video to the end of the season because it would be official whether they're in playoffs or not because the last game's on Friday. And then I'd probably take off. I could possibly take off Monday. I'm not guaranteeing what I would do. It might be a shorter video Monday. And then I'll have a Bulls season interview or Vegas Golden Knights season review or Bulls series in review if they somehow come back and win or Vegas playoff stuff like that. I'll have both of those videos coming out next week sometime and also have a NHL predictions video for the playoffs coming up. There's a lot planned. Okay, so if you like this video, even if it's a lot of talking over things I've already talked about. If you did enjoy this video, you might as well subscribe because I have a lot planned. I have a lot of energy into this. I actually do enjoy and love making these videos, whether anyone's watching them or not. It doesn't even matter to me because I have so much enjoyment when making these videos. So if you liked it, give me a like, If you're annoyed that I repeat a lot of things, or you just didn't agree with some of my takes, give me a dislike, Even if YouTube covers up the dislikes for you guys, I can't see it. That does give me some information, and it is good to know what I'm doing. But if you're going to give me a dislike, tell me what I can do better. If you give me a like, tell me what I did good. Comment what your favorite pick would be for the Chargers in this scenario, or what your least favorite pick was. Give me subscribe. I already said that, but I got to say it again because it really does help a lot. I really do appreciate it, and every single one of you has noticed. And as always, I hope it taught you something. Hope it made you smile. Hope it made you laugh. This is something that's really important to me, affect someone else's day. And finally, you guys all be safe out there.